the Jets gonna jet. Nothing new at MetLife Stadium. Once again, we move on to another head coach and scapegoat the wrong guy. Bob Saleh did not deserve this. He may be a terrible head coach, but God damn it, he should not have been the fall guy for the New York Jets. I'll let you guys sound off. I have a bunch of stuff to say too, but simply put, the Jets, once again, failed miserably. And that's nothing new here.
Pete, you want to take it here? You're the Jet fan. You're the Jet fan on the couch.
Dude,
so
it's I gotta be a man of few words in this situation, because if I'm not, then you know, I might have a bit of a tangent. But this is
that's kind of what we do here.
This is well, I'm very upset. Like Matt said, I don't think he necessarily deserved it. Reason being is, at the end of the day, you're a team, and I know one man is the head coach, but you're a team. There's a lot of different parts of a team that make, them successful. So to just point the finger at one man who's put everything into this team is a little bit crazy to me. And, aside from the fact of it happening, a little bit deeper, the way it happened, I think is what is more upsetting whether you're a Jets fan or not. It's just the way it happened and the rumors of how it happened. Of course, we weren't in the office while that conversation was happening, but of course, we also heard rumors that are most likely true of how it happened. And I think it could have been done a little bit more. It could have been a better farewell than the way they did it.
Yeah, Two things can be true. He could be bad at his job. He wasn't a good head coach, but he also should have been the guy. He shouldn't have been the guy in this situation specifically. So, you guys go ahead.
I mean, there's a lot that went into this decision, and what led us here, what led the Jets here. First of all, just firing your coach midseason is just not a way to compete for a Super Bowl, and that's what the Jets want to do. They want to win a Super Bowl, and historically,
are you sure?
I mean, so they say. They don't. They say
Aaron
one thing
Rodgers,
and do another.
He don't got a lot more time. He wants it more than anybody.
His contract's done after this year.
Yeah.
It's just this is it. One opportunity, man.
But it's just
didn't he extend?
No, he's done after this year.
No, man.
We're
I'm pretty sure. Did he extend?
I don't think so.
I thought he extended, but he might not.
I'll look real quick.
We're 5 games into the season, and it's been kind of a roller coaster for the Jets. I mean, week 1 they went out on primetime and failed miserably. But what did the Jets fans come out here and say? I'm not blaming all the Jets fans because there's some mixed feelings here amongst the Jets community.
Whoa.
But we got out here and said, all right, Rodgers made it through a game. That's really all I can ask.
Oh, man. Dude.
And now he's got to shake the rust off. And he had to shake the rust off. Okay.
And it was against the Niners.
Right. And it was against the Niners. And you were a run funnel.
Poor guy is also limping every other play. I'm like, dude, you got us at the edge of our seats.
Oh, okay.
It was a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was a 2-year deal.
No, I think they extended him this offseason.
So he has one more year after this.
Extension. Yeah.
But he's...
it says he signed a 3-year deal.
Oh, okay.
So on Sports.
So then week 2, they pull out a close one against the Titans, and it's like, all right, it wasn't pretty, but we got to win. And then week 3, we're winning the Super Bowl. We stomped out the Patriots. Rodgers looked great. The offense looked great. The offensive line looked great. The defense looked great. We're in the Super Bowl. And then week 4 is a disaster. You go out and lose to the Broncos at home, 10-9. It's pouring rain. It's an outlier game. No, you don't fire your coach there. Instead, you go to London, you make every mistake possible, and still the game comes down to a game-winning drive. And that's when you decide to fire your coach? I mean, it's just – I feel like the main issues the Jets were having were if they weren't fixable, they were treatable, And we were in talks of getting Devontae Adams on this squad and fixing everything. And nope, we're going to fire the coach. We're going to hire our defensive coordinator for now, and we're going to see – what he wants to do.
Which is also just another fault.
You go from one defensive mind, a great defensive mind, to a good defensive mind. I mean, he's ran the Jets defense for a few years, and he's been really good at it.
Has he ran the Jets defense?
Right. Though?
Maybe not. Okay,
he's assisted in running the Jets defense.
Yeah. And before that,
he has a title.
He was the DC for the Falcons for a year, I think. But before that, he's a linebacker coach. He's this and nothing. He's a special teams coach.
I saw some of his highlights today. He played on the Niners.
Played on the Niners for 9 years.
Yeah, he had some cool highlights.
He actually leveled the reporter. I saw that, too.
Good for him.
That was good.
Yeah, you need that in the coach. But I think this goes way back to not just hiring Nathaniel Hackett. This goes back to what you signed up for with Aaron Rodgers. When Aaron Rodgers came to this team, you gave him basically almost full control of the team. Who comes and goes, who's hired, who's signed. You gave him too much power. And that's definitely part of the reason that Rodgers got here. And I know it was get Rodgers at all costs because he's Aaron fucking Rodgers. And I get it. But you came here, and what came after that? Alan Lazard is your wide receiver too. 31 other teams, that's a terrible move. But for the Jets, it made sense because you got Aaron Rodgers. Randall Cobb as your wide receiver 3 at 95 years old. Not a terrible move for 31 other teams, but, we got Aaron Rodgers, so what? Nathaniel Hackett, after the shit storm that was the Denver Broncos.
Yeesh.
Yeah, that's our offensive coordinator. I like what that guy did in Denver. Let's bring him in.
It's
'Cause he worked
fucking
for Rodgers.
absurd. It's fucking absurd. We had Jets fans like Dean who were dead ass excited for that move because he worked with Aaron
Nate
Rodgers.
Hackett.
It's fucking ridiculous. He put on an absolute disaster class when he was head coaching in Denver. It was, in my time watching football, it was one of the more embarrassing head coaching jobs I have ever seen. Easily in the top 3. And the Jets saw him and said, he was Aaron Rodgers' offensive coordinator back in the day. That's our guy. It's fucking ridiculous that the Jets employed him. That's one of their mistakes. And like you mentioned, when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, this is what comes with it. Because we saw it in the end of Green Bay, where things, and Green Bay, a storied franchise in the NFL.
And look at who turned out right.
Who runs things a certain way. Towards the end of that, there was a disconnect because Rodgers wanted things a certain way, and Green Bay's front office, head coach, all that wanted things run a different way, and there was a disconnect there. And now, like you said, we're seeing who's right. We're seeing the Packers thrive. We're seeing LaFleur thrive. Like you mentioned, Tom, if you are serious about winning a Super Bowl, and that should be your only aspiration when you bring in a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers. It's Super Bowl or bust. I don't fucking care that the Jets haven't made the playoffs in however long. I know there's Jets fans that'll say, oh, we just want to get a taste of the playoffs. That's not the aspirations when you bring in Aaron Rodgers. And firing your coach in the middle of the season basically says we are unserious about winning a Super Bowl. And the fact that they made Rob Saleh the fall guy is fucking ridiculous. This man, Aaron Rodgers, went to London and threw 3 interceptions and lost them the game. He is the reason why they lost the game in London. They started off like dog shit, down 17-0. Why? Because he threw 2 interceptions, one of them being a pick 6. Shout out Andy Van Ginkel. I wish he was still on the Dolphins. Bro's a stud.
Yep.
But 2 picks, one of them a pick 6, put them in the hole. Ooh, they're coming back. Garrett Wilson got 22 targets. He caught fucking 13 of them. 14 of those targets were deemed catchable. Aaron Rodgers played like dog shit. And then they have a chance to win the game, and bro handed the ball to Stephon Gilmore. Handed it to him. Threw it right into his chest as if he was the fucking receiver. Aaron Rodgers lost them the game. And what do the Jets do? Fire the head coach. And let me break it to everyone who maybe doesn't understand. Yeah, he's the head coach, but there are certain guys in the NFL who are defensive minds. There are certain guys who are offensive minds. Yes, he's the head guy. He has final say over everything, but the offense was not his problem. It was not his problem. And I know for a fact, I don't want to speak on his name, but I know for a fact that he did not fucking endorse Nathaniel Hackett to be the offensive coordinator for this team. I know it. I know it. LaFleur's brother,
Michael LaFleur, yeah.
was fine. He was fine.
He was with, let's give Mike LaFleur a little bit of fucking
Where is he now?
a reprieve here. I think he went to Los Angeles again. I don't remember for sure, but
Yes. Yeah.
regardless, the guy had Zach fucking Wilson. And we were very quick to blame Mike LaFleur for that situation when we clearly saw that Zach Wilson's just not good at football. And I think it's ridiculous that as a head coach, like, you are supposed to make your offense coordinator and defense coordinator hires. And then you force a guy onto him who is now the reason that he's losing his job.
And it's fucking ridiculous because, like, have whatever feelings you want about Rob Saleh. Was he a good head coach? Was he a bad head coach? That's up for Jets fans' interpretation, whatever they want to feel. But at the end of the day, there's no Aaron Rodgers without the defense and the system that Robert Saleh built. Robert Saleh built this shit and made this a destination. And they were putting out 7-win seasons when the quarterback play and the offense they had was a 1-win, 2-win football team. They were finding a way to exceed expectations year in and year out. And Robert Saleh built that. And you fire him and let him go for a guy in number 8 who you should have no fucking loyalty to. Yep. He's played 5 games for your organization and been dog shit for 4 of them. He had a good game against the Patriots. That was the Jets' fucking Super Bowl against the Patriots. It's fucking ridiculous. He built this shit from the ground up. He made the Jets a destination that a guy like Aaron Rodgers would want to go to. And then we see the reports that he was going to let go of Nathaniel Hackett, and then 5 minutes later he gets fired. It's fucking ridiculous. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but clearly Aaron Rodgers has a big say in this. That's just what it is. Like we have to speculate a little bit here, and all of the context clues say
there is evidence pointing to it.
That this is an Aaron Rodgers thing, and it is fucking ridiculous. I don't care who you are. I don't care what accolades you have. You are a player. You are not the coach, and you are not the general manager. And we are seeing what happens when you give a player too much power. And now this team is in shambles because, like we said, no team. The furthest the team has gone, I think I sent it in the chat earlier, was like in the 70s. The Vikings made the NFC Championship after firing.
I heard
their head
that
coach.
Fantasy Footballer said today that no team has made the playoffs after firing with an interim coach.
That's not what ChatGPT told
Oh, okay.
Because I was so curious about this shit that I went to ChatGPT to see
with an interim head coach.
Probably like within
a certain time frame, but like it's not a recipe for success.
No. Do they really think like firing the head coach is what's gonna like take them to the playoffs?
So
like is that what's like actually believed in this situation?
So also, by the way, like
no, because maybe it is.
Like taking care of his side of the ball. Like, first of all,
he's done what you asked him to do.
I'm gonna put it out there right now. I think they managed to win this coming game. Because that always happens after you fire your head coach.
Get fired up for the first game or two, yeah.
You will win your first game after it. It's almost a guarantee. And we're all going to look at it and we're all going to think, and I hope we don't get our minds twisted here. They win that first game. I don't want to come on this podcast. I don't want anyone to come on this podcast and say, oh, maybe they're fine. Rob Saleh is gone. That was the right move. Because, again,
no.
As I said, he's not a good fucking head coach. I firmly believe that. But goddamn it, he is so goddamn good at that side of the football. He is so damn good. He's one of the best in the entire league, if not the best in the entire league at handling his side of the football. And that is what matters. You hired him for that. You hired him to establish a culture. He tried to get a great offensive mind. We could be having such a different conversation right now if LaFleur stood as the offensive coordinator. Who has failed on the LaFleur-Shanahan tree so far? You can't fucking name them because it doesn't fucking happen.
Nope.
So simply put, this dude who is likely going to be on the fast track to going to get a head coaching job at some point or another gets fucking fired because Aaron Rodgers wants to come in and take the guy that, as you said, created a disaster class in Denver, who fire Nathaniel Hackett, and in 2 seasons are now looking like a very competent football team. So, yeah, look, 2 things can be true. I don't like Robert Saleh as a head coach, but this is insane.
And then I see some Woody Johnson stuff. Like, this was Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson fired Robert Saleh this morning. Not Joe Douglas, the general manager, who typically should be handling this stuff. The owner fired Robert Saleh. And what a coincidence that I'm reading that Woody Johnson has all these connects with people in London, and they lose in London. And that's when the owner steps in and fires the head coach. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
Your job as the owner is not to hire and fire people, because this was the wrong decision. They fired the wrong guy. And maybe Woody Johnson was in his feelings because he felt a little bit embarrassed because of the performance they put up in front of his friends in London. Well, guess what? It just wasn't Robert Saleh's fault. It just wasn't. Watch the fucking tape. It was number 8's fault. Like, that's just what it is. They lost the game because of number 8. The Broncos game, we could pass blame around to everyone, sure. But this game in London versus the Vikings, it was on number 8. And that firing the defensive-minded head coach is just fucking ridiculous. The defense has done more than their part.
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers has been really like wearing the pants. Like,
yes,
it's
from
ridiculous.
From day one. And
you're not LeBron,
yeah,
bro.
and you know what? Like, I'll speak from like a Jets a Jets fan's perspective, we got this guy coming in, an absolute dog, projected to turn our franchise around, and there's a tremendous amount of respect on his name. He gets his way in a few ways. Sure, we want to make him happy. We want him here. He brings his guys with him, fucking two
They signed
receivers,
Lazard
whatever.
before they even got him. Now that I think
I'm
about
pretty
it,
sure it was
okay.
to-
I'm
was
scared.
to
I'm
entice
curious.
him.
No, yeah, but really the point that I'm getting at is they, give everything to this guy that he wants, right? Like, I'm speaking to him as a man, not even like Aaron Rodgers. They're giving this guy everything he pretty much wants, you know what I mean, for the most part.
Got them in a chokehold. Yeah.
And, now it's like, oh, well, I got fucking say. And, I got a lot more say than, well, I think he has like the most say as any quarterback in the league. Like, even with like Patrick Mahomes,
Yes.
arguably, and Mahomes has every right to have every say in like everything, you know what I mean? Because he's fucking him.
He's got Brady say without Brady accolades.
Exactly. And you could not have worded that better.
So,
Yeah,
I
so-
was gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
No, my bad. No, go bananas because I'll keep fucking going.
So I was to piggyback off of that. I was going to point to when Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay in 2020, and that's what you wanted here. You looked at your roster and you said, "Hey, we're a quarterback away. There's a generational talent at quarterback available to plug in here right now and turn us around and make us a Super Bowl competitor." Did Tom Brady go to Tampa and say, "I want Matt Patricia, I want Danny Amendola"? No, he took Gronk, who was still really fucking good at that point in his career.
and that's also so respectable. Like, him and Gronk is like Mahomes going with Kelsey
Right,
somewhere.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So-
Like, it's like the people want to see that.
Did he say,
You know what I mean?
say, I don't want Bruce Arians. I don't want Todd Bowles as the defensive coordinator. I don't want this guy. I don't want. No. He said, this is a team that has made good moves. I trust them to put the best pieces around me. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to do my job.
No.
And I'm going to hope that they can do their job. Aaron Rodgers didn't do that. He said, no, I want to come here and this is how you're going to do this. This is who you're going to bring with me. And it's just not.
And he's not doing his fucking job.
he's not doing his
And
job.
he's not doing his
Yep.
fucking job.
Yep.
And the other thing though is like that I can give him is he's definitely created a chemistry for the guys on the field. Like, you see in clips like
Yo, is my thing like lighting up when I speak?
Yes.
yes.
All right, thank God.
Yeah. we see in like small clips and stuff like
Fourth
that.
one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all good.
I can't see it from here.
Yeah.
We see in clips that like the one place where we have to give Aaron Rodgers credit though is he did come in here. He had all his requests. He was tended to in every single way he wanted, but he did bring like a chemistry to the team when it comes to the players in the field. In the aspect of like you see like Brees Hall coming up to him, them working together as teammates, not always necessarily listening to what the coaches have to say and succeeding in it sometimes.
Right.
But my point is, it's the little thing there where it's like they have a chemistry. Right, and that's definitely important for a team on the field. Obviously, it didn't fucking work out last weekend. Whatever chemistry they had fucking didn't matter because we
it's
lost.
not even like a chemistry thing. It's like a hope thing.
It's a
because
hope
of what
thing.
they dealt
Yeah.
with Zach
Right.
Wilson. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
we have this guy
the
now.
hope is creating
They grew up
chemistry.
watching this motherfucker,
Yes.
bro. It's an admiration
Exactly,
thing.
it's an admiration thing, and the hope is creating the chemistry, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to pan out and like move forward into anything. Of course, we want it to, but one thing I did see is I don't know if you guys saw the clip. It was Rob Saleh was like going to give Aaron Rodgers like a hug or something, and then
Oh, yeah.
Rodgers like pushed him away. And like the funny thing about the video is like we don't know the context. I don't know the context. Maybe you guys do. But my point is, what I do see in the video is one man ecstatically happy, Saleh, and Rodgers the complete fucking opposite. No.
So the
What-
backstory
what the
on
fuck was that about?
The backstory on that was just Robert Saleh talks about getting a 2-score lead. Like in practice, he's always telling them,
Okay.
get a 2-score lead, get a
Okay.
2-score lead. Because Saleh defenses work best when the pass rushers could just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback.
Okay.
Love when
So,
you
like-
say that. That's like one of your famous lines. Pass rushers pinning their ears back. That's like a staple of yours. I love when you say that.
So
That I
when
screwing them shits on.
when they could do that, it allows the solid defense to work to like its best. So Rodgers like pushed him away and said, "There's your 2-score lead," and he was just like hyped up. Like it wasn't like a.
Oh, that wasn't. See, bro, the internet.
And
out
if
of
you read the
context-
lips, he quite literally
Okay,
says like
so-
And then
2-score lead.
so
in the
Rodgers-
tunnel in that same game, they gave each other a hug.
yeah.
Okay, so Rodgers wasn't actually mad at him in that.
Not in
but-
that moment.
That's
No,
why
it was
the
blown
internet-
out of proportion.
Yeah,
The,
for
the
sure.
internet could
That
totally blow
was-
things out of proportion, out of context, and
I don't
but
know
I'm
what
glad
their
I talked about it here because I saw that and I was like, well, that's what people fucking do, man. Like we what the hell are you doing? No, you know, we see online like that. I saw that out of context, whatever. Honestly, that threw me off. I don't even remember what the fuck I was gonna say. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Out of context shit on the internet could definitely fly away. But I saw that this morning and I was like, oh, could that be a reason why he got fired? But like, obviously, that's definitely not the case. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think that's the case. But we also like don't know the relationship between Saleh and Rodgers.
Something had to
relationship.
be in the locker
There
room or in
had
the,
to
something
be
had to be
something.
terribly wrong for Saleh because no one, a lot of
Saleh's-
people were taken off.
So what
off
I'm
guard by
thinking,
this.
like, I don't even want to take the reports that are out there. What I'm thinking is Saleh has just already proven that he's a very dominant personality. Like, we've already seen he's not afraid to call people out. He's not afraid to get in their face. Like, you could tell Saleh's a very dominant personality. And Rodgers is kind of that, like, I don't want to say
He's faked. Like, he doesn't want
Fake
people to
tough.
think he's
like-
dominant and that guy, but he just
he
is.
wants what he wants.
He is that like that, and he wants
I
to
don't wanna
play
say
it off
fake
like
tough.
I'm.
It's not the right thing
Yeah,
to say.
I get what you're saying. He doesn't want to be that guy. He doesn't want people to think of him as the type of guy who needs to be
he
dominant and
portrays a different persona in the public than what he actually is behind closed doors.
right.
Yeah,
is
that's
what I
media. That's media,
And
though.
it's,
He wants things a certain way, but he doesn't want people to think that he wants things a certain way. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, look, we don't know what was going on behind closed doors, and normally, I'm very iffy about trusting reports and stuff like that, especially with like NBA stuff, because NBA stuff, trade rumors, all that stuff, it just flies around.
Yeah.
So I'm very iffy about reports. The reporting for this just lines up. It makes sense that Rob Saleh was going to let go of Nathaniel Hackett, and people didn't like that.
or at least take away the play calling
Right.
duties.
Whether it's Rodgers, whether it's Woody Johnson, whether it's Joe Douglas, who is kind of getting a little bit swept under
MIA
the
and
rug
all
in
that.
this situation, which
Yeah.
is concerning in its own way. Whatever the case may be, Hackett was either going to get fired or let go of his play calling duties, and someone didn't like that, and that's when they said he has to go. And it just makes sense. It just
Right.
makes sense that that's what happened.
The
It really
unfortunate-
does.
The unfortunate truth of the matter is that Woody Johnson and Joe Douglas have become yes men to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Like, he basically has this franchise.
Well, it's also like you're in
by
this
the
deep at this
throat.
point. Like like I said, you got him here under the condition that he gets what he wants.
Yes, and in
So-
which case, unfortunately, turns into the fact that Natty Hackett basically has this franchise by the throat as well, because he's Aaron Rodgers' guy. They're a duo now.
There's just no way that man should have a job right now.
I agree with you.
just
He
no way.
shouldn't.
It's
He
just
should
at
not
the end
be-
of the day, bro, organizational incompetence will
win out.
rise to the top. Look at the Bengals, and what's the thing with the Bengals, and why is their organization incompetent? Because they don't pay their players.
Yeah.
Look at their defense right now, how they're in shambles. Organizational incompetence always rises to the top, and that's just what it is. So, before we move on, we mentioned what's the guy, Ulbrich?
Yeah.
Ulbrich,
Jeff
yeah,
Ulbrich is the interim head coach. Pete, as a Jet fan, what are your expectations for the rest of the season? Because I think in the three of our opinions as not fans, Super Bowl's out the window.
Yep, I agree.
Just history says Super Bowl's out the window. Can the Jets define history? Maybe, but history says it's out the window. So what are your expectations?
Dude, history says it's out the window. I can't disagree with that. Like, we're a team that we're we're having a little bit of trouble. We were on pace to see better days, but now seeing better days is kind of like out the fucking window. The reason I say that,
Unless you get Devontae Adams.
hopefully, for the next couple of weeks at least, this team isn't going to necessarily be where they want it to be in the aspect of there's not a leader there anymore. Like, you strip away a leader in a situation, like it's now it's fucking blind leading blind. Like, what are they like? I really want to know. I wonder what their fucking plan is.
And then they
What's
talk
their
about
plan?
Oh,
they-
no. Their plan is Aaron Rodgers is now their quarterback and head coach.
Bro, he is. He's
GM.
been the fucking head coach.
He's
like,
been the GM.
like that's the funniest thing about this whole
No,
thing.
but I
is
think
like,
that's part of the problem. Saleh wouldn't take that.
Right.
Saleh wouldn't take it as.
I think he was taking it, and then maybe look, because I don't know.
And then he wanted to get rid of Hackett
Yes.
because he realized this shit is not working.
Yes.
And then Aaron Rodgers, Woody Johnson, Joe Douglas, whoever said, no, Aaron Rodgers' word goes. We do what Aaron Rodgers says. We bow down to Aaron Rodgers. And we're just not going to win a Super Bowl like that.
like you said, coaches coach, players play. You could be a fucking captain. You could lead. But at the end of the day, when it comes to things in the back office being decided, like that's not for a player to be choosing.
And we remember last year all the reports of Saleh wanting to bench Zach Wilson, and they wouldn't let him. Like Saleh has, without a doubt, butted heads with Joe Douglas, with Woody Johnson, and all these guys.
Oh, dude,
before.
yeah.
And like the poor guy's trying to do his job. I know we sit up here and say he's not a great head coach, and I don't disagree, but the poor guy's trying, and he's just getting vetoed.
I don't think he's necessarily a bad coach.
I don't either.
I don't think he's a bad coach.
I don't think he's a great coach.
I
but yeah,
agree.
he's
You
really
can say you don't think
bad.
he's a great coach,
So-
but I don't think he's a bad coach.
I don't-
Part of being a good head coach is being able to handle the media. That part of him is not good. He's simply not good at that.
On-
Media
And
is
in New
one
York,
thing.
the problem is in New York, that's magnified and put to a fucking 20. Instead of a 10, it's put to a 20. You go to any other team for the most part. You go to Jacksonville. Nobody's gonna give a fuck in the end. But since you're in New York, it's magnified to a 10. So you go in those press conferences, say the wrong thing, and now House of Highlights is posting you, or Bleacher Report's posting you, and they're talking Robert Saleh, head coach of the New York Jets, said blah, 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 blah. So it's magnified every single fucking time. So I can agree with you guys. Maybe he's not as bad of a head coach. The one aspect that he's really bad at is handling the media.
100%. I could
sure.
agree with that. But
But we're talking about winning games right here.
Right. At the end of the day, the most important, that's definitely part of
Yeah.
it. The most important thing is winning games. And I don't think I could get to 5 fingers on my hands of guys who were able to win as many games as he did in his tenure with the Jets, with the roster he had and the
Zach
dysfunction
Wilson,
he
Tim
had.
Boyle, Trevor Simeon last year. He won
For real.
7 games.
But
For real. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, that's definitely important.
Yeah.
But like the main
Especially
thing
in
is,
the
like,
like you said, in the New York market, it's magnified to a million. And Jeff Ulbrich, I don't know the guy personally, don't really know much about him. Maybe he'll be better with the media. And they're talking about on Twitter, well, the locker room loves him. The locker room loved Antonio Pierce last year. Guess what? Antonio Pierce is not a good fucking
one thing
football
I'll say
coach.
about that is think about it like Jeff Ulbrich is like that supervisor that you're super chill with, and you go to him and you talk shit about the manager, and you bring a coffee on the floor to work with you. Now he is the manager. Now he's not gonna,
He's not
a
their
different
friend
person.
anymore.
Yeah, he's a
Right.
different person.
He's not the
hilarious.
shoulder
And now
they lean on.
the offense
anymore.
has to get behind this guy, and the special teams has to get behind this guy, not just the defense, where the offense wasn't in meetings with him, ran by him, and stuff like that. So it's a totally different guy that's the head coach rather
But
than
Twitter
the
says the
coordinator.
locker room loves him. It'll work.
Right,
out.
yeah,
hold
no,
on,
I-
Fuck out of here,
yeah.
What I
bro.
find so funny is I could just picture the meeting between Woody, between Joe, Natty Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers.
Dude.
And they're sitting there like,
Dude, what the fuck do we do?
They're sitting there like, so Natty's not going anywhere. Simply put, Rodgers is sitting there like, Hackett's not going anywhere. It's not happening. Cool. All right. So what's next? If we're going to fire Saleh, who are we going to hire? Hackett. We'll give you the head coaching job. And then Rodgers and Hackett are staring at them like, no, we have to save face for the media. We cannot give Nathaniel Hackett the job.
Jeff's just sitting there like
Then
texting.
they're gonna think it's
Texting
us.
his wife like, you won't believe what happened at
Yo,
work
this
today.
is fucking crazy. And they're like, Jeff, you're the interim head coach. And he's like, what? He's like, what do you mean?
He's like, what? Bro.
He just, and then they get to like their first meeting with him as head coach, and he just walks in with his coffee, and everyone's just waiting for him to say something, and he's like, "Fucking want me to do? What do here? Get out there and get with some coffee is crazy."
I find it hilarious because not naming Hackett the head coach, if they did, everyone would have immediately gone to.
So the last point I'll make, because we've gone on a lot about this, but the last point I'll make is I almost feel better if they name Hackett, because then they're
oh no,
no, not about the situation, but
the
because
blowback would have been crazy.
because the Jets are sitting then they're confirming that that they don't think he's the problem. At least like they believe in him still, but you didn't make him the head coach.
No, but the reason they didn't do that is to save face for the media. That's what I'm saying.
That's fucking
because
insane.
that
That's-
would have pushed the
I mean, yeah,
whole
but
narrative.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just proving you're just a poorly run organization. It's not even like you're,
You can't even stand on business.
you can't even like say, no, we really believe in this guy. Like,
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But and I feel like we talked a lot about what now for the Jets, but what now for Saleh?
We'll get
Oh,
a
he's
job.
going to Sanford.
if you don't have
he's
a
going straight to
top
Sanford.
5
Yeah.
defense, you should be calling him right now.
Yes, agreed, 100%.
Absolutely.
There will be
100%.
20 teams calling him to be their defensive.
Someone
coordinator.
said he's taking a vacation right now, which I mean he's still got a year's salary to.
Would you be
collect,
surprised
so-
if the Bengals
Bro,
made
he's getting paid $20,000 a day to
Really?
go
Yeah.
to Cancun. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
what
wait.
the rest of the contract like breaks down to.
Wait,
Because they have
his-
to still pay the contract.
Yeah.
His contract pays $20,000 a day.
With
right now?
the-
Yeah,
for the rest of
how
the
it,
contract,
how
the
it,
rest of the
How much is getting paid a year?
I don't know exactly.
You don't know, but 20,000.
Whatever it
day
is.
is
And again,
fucking-
I saw this on Twitter, so maybe not
Oh,
exactly.
so wait,
lot
maybe
of
it's like
money.
1.5 million
a lot
a
of
year.
money. Yeah, good
Something
amount of
like
money.
that, yeah. If
Something like
that's
that.
what the math says, you're better at that than I am.
Between
No,
1 and
something like
1.5, I remember hearing.
Maybe like 1 to 1.5.
Yeah, I mean,
Bananas though. Bananas.
yeah, I'm excited because I'm going to be there Monday night, so it just adds another storyline, another element
yeah.
to the game.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm super excited. And, at the end of the day, the Jets are still 2-3. The Bills are 3-2. It's open for them. So
A lot of
Oh,
football
hell
left.
yeah. it is.
How loud will it get if the Bills go into MetLife
And stomp them
beat
out?
the brakes
Oh my
off
God.
the Jets?
My dad was at a Monday Night Football game for the Jets once, where they threw literal Molotovs on the field, and
the-
threw shit on.
It
the
might
field.
get to that level.
It might get there.
Oh my God, I can't. I hope so. Like, I don't like the Bills, and I'm not a Josh Allen guy. I might be known as Josh Allen's biggest hater, honestly. But oh my God,
Must be a good day.
if
for
the
you.
Bills stomp them out on Monday night while I'm there, bro, it will be poetic because I have no say in that game. I don't fucking care. I don't fucking
Either way,
care.
you get to come out of it a hater.
Right.
Yeah, I don't fucking care.
So
yeah.